Allins Magazine, and we are going live on Facebook and YouTube. And we're waiting on Lou, of course. He's always the last one in. So as soon as Lou gets in, we'll start. So, Tori, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tori DeBlasi, and I'm from Long Island, New York. If you have any need for your rear differential, not to worry. I have all the essentials for your rear differential. Let's welcome Troy Ladd. Troy, please introduce yourself.
My name is Troy Ladd. I'm from Burbank. Well, actually, I'm in Burbank, California. Born and raised California, and I am the owner of a little shop called Hollywood Hot Rods. And we build cars and do cool stuff with cars, we think, anyway.
oh, yeah. No, for sure. Absolutely. So tell us how you got started in the business of building some of the coolest hot rods around.
Basically, it was just a hobby. And it was like any car guy could tell you, once you get that in your head, once you get the passion and the sickness, I call it, you can't really escape it. And I did what I was supposed to do and went to school and had a real job and kind of did the normal thing that you're supposed to do. And I always had this car hobby that I couldn't shake. So I obsessed about the car part of it. And I had a little shop that I rented, or I built cars out of the carport of my apartment, like whatever I could do just to keep that going. And it was, again, it just kind of overwhelmed my life. And at one point, my girlfriend said, she's like, this car thing that you do, maybe you should do that for a living. I'm like, no, that's not a good living at all. That would ruin my hobby. And so I basically ended up entertaining the idea, and I started to build a business plan. I thought of the name, and I thought of it was actually an exercise of a project that I could do, because it was car involved and it was something I could do at work at my lunch hour. And so I kind of created the Hollywood Hot Rods entity, which it was fake. I mean, it was like just a thing without a location. And then at one point I put all those pieces together and decided that what if I quit my day job? What if I tried? And so I did.
Yeah.
And I look back on it, it was the dumbest thing.
Why don't you sit here?
No, it's signing me in as you.
But it worked out.
It's saying I'm for it.
Hold on, Lou's.
You want to sit in here?
No, do it. Where's Louis Lee?
He's over here.
Well, fucking tell him to send me a link.
Louis, can you send him a link, please?
Hey,
Yeah.
Is this Lou's first time? Hey, Lou, have you not done this before? I mean, come on.
So I have another question for you, actually, and Louis Lee knows I'm full of them.
Full of it. Lou's full of it, really, but go on.
So how did it start? Did you start building cars for yourself? Did people start coming to you? What point did people start coming to you?
It was basically, like I said, just a hobby, and I only did stuff for myself or family and things like that. And then when I ended up kind of quitting my day job and doing this for a living, it was, I don't even really know where people came from. I tried to advertise. I go to car shows. I had cars that I built for myself, so that was kind of a key piece of the puzzle. You go to a car show, set up a little booth, like with cars that I had owned and built, and it just kind of generated slow. I mean, it was, like I said, I joke that it was the worst thing that I had ever decided to do in my life, because I had to sleep in the shop. I had to eat like 99-cent cheeseburgers to survive. I'm like, there's nobody to help you when you do it all yourself.
Right.
And luckily, I had built up enough traction over time, and I got media. Media has been very kind. I got a magazine article within the first year of the shop, and that helped generate business. Then our 1 year anniversary, we filmed a TV show called Rides, and
I remember that.
And that was huge. So that kind of helped propel the Hollywood Hot Rods brand. And again, I always tell people that I built this company backwards, because most people that are tradesmen, most people that work with their hands, most people that build cars, they start with that, and then they build that forward, right? Like, okay, yeah, I'm a good car builder. I'm going to build it for somebody. Now I'm going to need customers. Now I'm going to make a business of it. I kind of did it backwards because I already had that as a hobby.
Right.
So I created the Hollywood Hot Rods brand and the name and the business, and I already had the experience. So I kind of came in it at a different angle, and it worked. It worked well because like the name helped propel the business, and things that I've already done. Then I got some magazine coverage and the TV show, and that all kind of helped just propel the business. But what people don't understand is just being in a magazine or just being on a television show doesn't actually create the business. It just exposes your brand,
Right.
but you have to back. So,
Yep.
then they're like, oh yeah, I saw that guy on TV. Who cares? He built 232 Roadsters. Not a big deal. But then the next year we had a car at the Grand National show that was a legitimate show car. And then the next year I competed in 2007 for AMBR. So you just kind of keep building on it. And that's kind of how it worked for me.
So
Nice.
what, for the people who don't know, what does AMBR mean? And please tell us about the AMBR car that you built.
Oh, AMBR. So AMBR means America's Most Beautiful Roadster. So in the show car world, there's really two significant awards that you can win. And there's Riddler in Detroit, and then there's America's Most Beautiful Roadster on the West Coast. And I competed in that show with my own personal car that I had actually built, and it was owner built, owner funded, and at the time everything was chip foose, billet, two-tone. It was the age of billet, and I came in with a traditional styled car, and so all of those things made it pretty unique, and I really kind of put made a mark on our industry because I came in with a traditional car that wasn't $1 million car that I had built mostly myself with some help from my guys at the end. And it kind of changed. I mean, they called it a milestone car because it kind of changed the direction of the whole billet era a little bit, at least in that show, to the more traditional styled cars, which is what we like. So that was kind of pivotal in the career movement of Hollywood Hot Rods.
See, I love the fact that you're true to the original design, but you're creative enough to put your own twist on it to make them unique, even though they're timeless classics.
See, what people don't understand, because I've had people actually question me or interrogate me about tradition, because one of our taglines is respect tradition. And I've had guys like, so you think you build period correct cars, do you? Like, nope, I don't. We don't build period correct cars. Respect tradition. We build cars that respect traditional aesthetic and heritage and time, and timelessness. But as an artist, you still need to be able to create something new. So it's kind of an oxymoron, because we're trying to create something new that people haven't seen based on old design. So
the original package, right?
Yeah, but if you look at our work, you can see how this guy says we're building a wagon. Like, I got to stop reading the comments if we're going to distract me. But you can see, like, my car that we did a right-hand drive car, and we're doing a coupe currently. There's a lot of European influence in it, and it's traditional vintage European influence, but rolled into an American car. So it is new, but old. So it's funny. And by the way, I'm still at work, and I just heard the radio downstairs churn into your show. So that means my crew is not working there listening to this.
Yeah.
Well, they're loyal, and they're giving them you're getting their support. So that's all you can ask for.
Oh, they're laughing. You can see them on the cameras too.
You're not missing anything, huh?
No, so we should talk about how amazing the Hollywood Hot Rods crew is, because they're actually down there doing the work while I'm up here talking to you guys. So
well, let me ask you that. How many people do you have working for you, and what roles do they play? Do you have metal workers? Do you have painters? Upholstery people, engine builders? Talk us through the crew that you have at the shop.
There's 6 guys down there. I say down there because I'm upstairs right now. I'm pretty lucky to find guys that are passionate about what we do. This is a passion-driven I was going to say hobby. It's not a hobby because we're making money. I mean,
Right.
we're living off this. It's a passion-driven industry, and to be frank, we don't make much money because our job is so much fun doing what you love that it kind of
course.
takes away from, the money part. It's just,
That
and
was Lou's phone. Sorry.
dude, if Lou messes us up one more time, tell Lou. But anyways, as far as, so we're passion driven, and all of these guys can actually do everything. It's a small, we're a small shop, as far as, size and manpower. But we create art. We create art that, I mean, people all over the world know. People all over the entire world know what we do and have seen what we do. So it's pretty exciting as artists to be able to, well, what's an artist want to do? An artist wants to show their art to the world and be appreciated by it. And that's what fuels the guys that work for me, and it fuels myself. And that's just kind of how that works. But we, in a nutshell, we do everything except for paint and upholstery. But literally, we have people here, and we have done it, like the Packard that we won AMBR with in 2017. We can literally build an entire car from drawings. Like, we can shape metal to the point that we call it modern coach building. We can modern coach build a car from nothing. So it's kind of a cool thing when you think about artistically. If we can think of it, design it, draw it, or whatever, we have the capabilities to build it, and that's what fuels us. It's fun. It's exciting. It's like, it's really a rush.
Yeah. See, to me, the metal work, I think, is more important than the paint, because without good metal work, what are you going to paint over? You got to make sure the surface is perfect, and make sure all the metals form correctly and stuff. And you got a crew that's that talented doing that high caliber work. That's a home run right there.
And we're not shy about it. We typically show all of our cars in bare metal at a show before they go to paint, just because,
Yeah, because you can.
It's beautiful.
Because we can.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, so what was the first car that you built, and do you still have it?
The first car that I built was a 66 Mustang. My dad gave it to me when I was 16, and he got it from his grandfather's. My grandfather bought it new and gave it to my dad, and he handed it to me. I didn't really have a relationship with my dad. He left us when I was young. Typical.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. Everyone's got a sob story. That was my first car, and I didn't even know what it was when I got it. I just knew it was a way to get me to school. And I grew up fairly poor, so any tool like that was important to make life better. And my grandfather on my mom's side, who was really one of the people that raised me and kind of instilled values and things into me, he was the guy that shaped my life. My car broke down, like the Mustang, and he's like, "So what are you going to do? You don't have any money?" Like, "Nope." He's like, "Well, you're going to learn how to fix it." I'm like, "Okay." So I remember it was there was a head gasket was the issue, and we took the head off, and we did that together, and that kind of fueled the passion. And then, unfortunately for him, because he didn't really like the fact that I got so into cars, he wanted to me to be an electrical engineer or something in his mind better. But I really got into the Mustang, and that was, in high school. And I ended up getting into street racing shortly, right when I started to fix up that car, and then realized that there was a whole world of racing. And so I spent all of my time and all of my money building that car to go race on the weekends. So,
nice.
So that was kind of how I got into it. And then, that was my first car. Where did it go? I ended up giving it to my brother, Randy, at some point, so I could buy a 36 Ford, because my second car was a 36 Ford. And my brother, I just don't even really know the details to this day, but because I didn't really talk to my brother for quite some time. We talk now, but something happened to it. I think he wrapped it around a telephone pole or something.
Oh,
Yeah. You just
So
never get the full answer.
yeah, I almost don't want to know. You
Yeah.
know?
I know what you mean.
But
But
yeah, those, and like in those days, all I knew was old cars for daily drivers. I mean, I had a 36 Ford that I drove every day to school and work, and was just normal. And
that's really cool.
never really had a new car until recently. I mean, we did a thing for Ford, and I got a new Mustang, but other than that, I've never actually owned a new car.
Well, the old ones are cooler anyway, so I could see
Yeah.
why. It's funny. We have a similar story. My grandfather, my dad's dad, was a big influence in my life as well. And when Dad came home from Vietnam, my grandfather bought for my dad a brand new '68 Camaro. That was my high school car, and I still have that car today, which is pretty cool. And unfortunately, my grandfather passed away in 1987, so I got Grandpa's car. Not the way you want to get a car through, someone passing away, but I have a '67 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Factory 4-speed car, factory air car, console buckets, really cool car. So those are two cars that got me started in the hobby. And yeah, it's been a great ride so far. Hey, Ray, how are you?
Hello, fellas.
Troy, this is Ray. Ray is our affiliate radio station.
Troy, pleasure to meet you. Troy froze. Wow, look at the effect I had on him. After all that great conversation, I just froze him. Oh, damn. What a story.
It'll pop up again.
What a story. I'm telling you. I was really enjoying just listening to what he was saying. It's talk about the American success. That's what happened to me.
And there's more. I have more questions too. I'm not done yet.
I bet you do, yeah. I bet you do.
There's a little bit of history going.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Great stuff,
For
too.
sure.
Beautiful, beautiful builds. Just fantastic stuff.
They really are. I mean, if you could display your stuff in bare metal for the world to see.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And the stuff is just beyond perfection.
I've said that before in different venues. There's being a car show judge for so many years, there was a bunch of guys that in this truck club that I always talk about, and they brought some of their stuff out in the metalworking phase one year. And they didn't expect to win anything because they figured, hey, this truck isn't finished. Dash. They put a 57 Ford Dash in a Ranger, and sectioned it and cut it and made it fit. I gave these guys a first place, and they were like, "What? That must be wrong. You must have had the number wrong because that can't be for my truck." I'm like, "Why not?" Well, the truck's not finished. Like, the truck's beautiful. I said, if after seeing this truck now, I think if I'm to see it again in a year or two and it's all finished and painted, that's not gonna have the same effect on me. I mean, anything that's done looks nice and it's beautiful, but I like to see that working and the mechanicalness of it, and that I can appreciate the work being done. Not everybody agrees, obviously, but they weren't the judge that day. I was.
You have the final say.
Good to be king, right?
Lewis, could you absolutely? Perfect. I was saying, could you invite him back? Awesome.
Yep.
Can you hear us okay, Troy?
I think I lost everybody.
No, we're here.
No, we got you. We got you.
Can you hear us? No?
Oh, man.
Let's see here.
We are experiencing technical
They should
difficulties. Please
bump
stand
me
by.
out again and see if Troy can. Maybe it's a bandwidth thing or something. Who knows?
I don't know what's going on.
Wait, let me.
Well, we got storms right across the country tonight. I mean, it's from the East Coast right over to like Wichita.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
Okay, I can hear one person. Can you hear
Testing.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you
Can you
fine.
see it? You can't see us?
Oh, lost everybody.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Let me jump out for a minute and see.
Troy, with Lewis Lee out, can you hear us okay? Can you hear anything?
Can you hear me?
Ray, I can hear you, Ray.
I know you do. Yeah. He said
I
he heard
can
one.
I can hear one of you. I can hear the radio guy.
The new guy. Yeah, that's okay. So he heard me, right? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, you can filter it. We've kind of done this before. We had relays. We had to relay the message. It's like
So
remember when my brother was overseas in the Navy back in the 70s. He'd call home and you had to do that whole relay thing, over.
Sure.
It was kind of like talking on a ham radio.
Well,
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
hear you, but I lost Tori and I lost everybody else. I just got you. Right
Lewis
now.
jumped out, and we can all hear you. Everybody can hear
Lou
you.
hasn't even come in yet. So
No, Lou isn't
I
here.
give
Right.
Lou some shit because he hasn't even showed up yet. So
He's having trouble getting in. He's signing in as me. They won't let him sign in as himself.
Wow.
And because I'm signed in, he can't sign me in twice. It's weird.
Well, that's why Lou has us, because then we lift when he's not around, right? That's
Well,
kind of
Troy,
what we do.
we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do it. With Lou from the beginning. If he didn't hear that, Ray, you could actually relay it.
Tori just said that if Lou can't get in because he's having trouble, we'll reschedule and do it again when Lou is on. And we say that a lot,
Yeah.
But we follow up on it, so it's the truth.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So not.
I'm gonna try.
Now Tori's gone.
Yeah, that's
try.
all right. I'm gonna put you on my computer too.
Yeah, some people have better luck if they go onto a phone. I mean, I use a desktop PC, and it's solid all the time. But some people are better off on a phone. I don't know why.
Let's try this again.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Tori.
Okay. Troy locked up again. What is going on?
Who knows? It could be a weather thing. Like I said, there's weather from the East Coast all the way out to like Wichita, Kansas, and north and south. The whole country.
You had to see the weather coming down North Carolina.
Really?
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like someone just flipped the switch and it got dark.
That's what happened here last night and again this afternoon. And now we're in on and off. But like the whole country is whacked,
Yeah, it's okay down here, but coming down like through Virginia, it was nuts.
Wow.
Troy, could you hear me now? Or I feel like that guy in Verizon.
I know. Can you hear me now?
Well, Ray, relay this to Troy if you can, okay?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just ask Troy about the new show. Well, it's not so new now. The Ride That Got Away, which is currently being aired on History with his co-host Courtney Hanson. Ask him.
I can hear you. Okay.
You can hear. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. So, I was trying to remember all of that, and I was going to have trouble. So I'm glad you heard him.
I would have texted you then, So
Yeah.
Yeah, that ended up being, that really ended up being a nice show. We did one season. We finished filming in December, and they've aired it a few times since. So that was really cool to be able to literally build somebody's dream car and give it to them. It was much different than overhauling or a show like that where you're actually taking their car and doing something to it. We had to find the car, buy it, go off of pictures, and the creative part was we tried to recreate something that they would remember, yet a better version. So it was kind of a fun twist to that show. It's just that we're still building a high-end car that they never had, but it still kind of reflected what they remember.
Well,
so that's what we always talked about.
How far did you go in that better version aspect of it? Like, can you give us a few examples?
We kind of took a no compromise type of approach to it because they were all frame off full builds. I mean, it was the whole deal, like something that they never had. Any of those people never had. So what we would talk about is at first impression, they needed to see, oh my gosh, that looks like my car.
Right.
And then as they look closer, like, whoa, but my car didn't have an LS engine in it. My car didn't have those wheels. My car. Right. So that was the idea. Like, so first impression, we wanted them to remember what it was. So basically, it was just color, mostly. Like the car had to resemble the same color and things like that, so that when they saw it, they would know. So it was pretty exciting.
For us guys on the East Coast, you need the same Christmas tree air freshener, the pine tree air freshener. I'll tell you something. That was the staple for us back in like the 70s and all. And I was in Tennessee last year. I can't find them up here. I can't find the same pine tree scent. But in Tennessee, I found them in a gas station. It was like a 5-pack. And I bought that 5-pack. And I have one in my car now that I've owned since 1975. And it's, you get in the car and it looks the same. And now it smells the same. I'm like, yes. Those little things make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's a lot easier way to build a car, just by hanging a little pine tree in it.
Yeah,
A
lot more than that too. But that was kind of like even when you build a car, and I know people who buy cars don't appreciate this. They don't appreciate what went into the build because they didn't do it. And myself, even when I build stuff, after a while you get desensitized to it because you did brakes and suspension, all the stuff you did, but you're not thinking about it. But when you get behind the wheel, it's that driver's impression. It's like, what do you see in front of you? What do you see out the windshield? And if you smell that air freshener that you had back in the day, it's a good thing,
It's a teleportation device, Troy. That's how it works. It brings you back in time.
I say when I get in that car, as soon as I shift second gear, 30 years flies right off my shoulders.
Yeah.
My hair is long again and my thoughts are short.
So, Troy, let me ask you, did you have a favorite build on the show? I know my favorite, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet.
On the show, that's tough. I mean, they're kind of apples and oranges. The Mercury, I think, was
that's the one.
Yeah, was the most respected. What I like, what we like here, because that was like a true 60s style custom. Oddly enough, the Scout was kind of interesting because that's so far from what we normally do.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the challenge. Mustangs and cars like that. Those are pretty easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that of course the Roadster, the 32 Roadster. I mean, that's what we do.
Exactly.
We were actually able to build a really legitimate hot rod. I mean, there was no small block Chevy in that car. It had that wide block, and that was a really cool car. So, yeah, like maybe I changed my answer. Well, you know what? I get to choose both a custom and a hot rod. So hot rod is the 32 that we did at the end, and the custom Mercury. So
tell them about the paint on the Merc, because that was just like, I loved it.
That was a lot of fun because we got to Jack, one of the guys that was on the build team. He's really into 60s era custom painting and lace and fades and things like that. So we were really let him kind of run wild with that, and it also added opportunity for the show, like picking out lace to do the lace roof and things like that. So that was really fun, and I think that the paint job was really the key factor of that build.
Absolutely.
I could say, not being a painter myself, but I took I've always been artistic. I took an airbrush class back in the early 80s, and the woman was very good, and she showed us, she said, we're going to do lace work today. I'm like, oh, excellent. This is exactly what I want to learn. And she basically took out, pieces of lace, and we sprayed over. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you actually did the whole pattern. I was like, how naive I was. I was like, wow, that makes it easy.
Yeah, I learned from somewhere. You got to start somewhere, right?
I learned just what a torn piece of paper, just what the edge can do, man. You can really get some cool effects.
Oh, exactly.
So all those little tips and tricks.
But the Impala was a cool build too. I mean, there was, and Troy, I gotta tell you, my wife, who really doesn't like cars at all, she loves your show. Absolutely loves it. We actually sat down in the morning when the kids went to school, and we put it on demand and we watched it together in its entirety from beginning to end. So you have a new fan. So well done.
That was part of the idea behind the show, was to try to do something that would transcend just car guys. You got to try to be able to do something that we always talked about, that your wife would sit down and watch, your family would watch. There had to be human element, and I've been approached to do quite a few shows over the years, and I always wanted to do a give back show or something that has to do with people. Like, the show has to be people driven, and cars are just part of it.
Of course, the emotion in there and the generosity that you give, and hey, Louis,
hey, sorry,
I'm that's okay, but no, the show is amazing. As a matter of fact, my wife, she's always been a big fan of Courtney Hanson, because she handles herself with a lot of, she's a good character. She carries herself well. She's well spoken. she sets a good example, in social media. So my wife actually watched the show, curious to see what Courtney Hanson was doing on the show. And that's how she became a fan of yours also, because she watched because of Courtney. She knew what you did, what you were all about. She loved your, creativity and your ability. So now you have a new fan.
That's great.
Well done.
Yeah, nice.
Well, I mean, there's we have discussions of a new show that hopefully she'll watch as well. Different than that, because the build shows are pretty tough. Like that's a tough deal to do.
I meant to ask you about that. Like, what's the time? The time constraints. How long does it take? Do you put yourself on like it's got to be done in X amount of time, or else it's not going to work?
Yeah, because I mean, you're held to a production schedule. I mean, there's only so many cameraman hours and production hours that you can do, and so we set out a schedule. And most of those cars were built in 3 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
So, and if you watch the show, those were not just easy builds. Those were serious. Like I said, most of them were frame off.
Right.
So it's a pretty tough schedule. And of course, I mean, full disclosure, I mean, afterwards, there's still you got to drive them. There's still stuff that needs to be done after we film, of course. But those were actually built by those guys in that time frame on that show. I mean, that actually did happen. There wasn't a ghost crew behind the scenes. There wasn't a fake build garage or anything. So, what we accomplished in that short period of time was pretty amazing.
Right.
But
that was done in your shop, which,
it was not done in my shop.
Oh,
yeah, we actually built that shop set a block from my shop, and I would run back and forth between the two shops throughout the day. We filmed.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And that was really done on purpose, because the guys here, the Hollywood Hot Rods crew, we got a full plate. They have to continue building the Hollywood Hot Rods cars. And so and that was actually kind of a strategic, the way the show was set up was done on purpose. It was strategically done. That Royal Garage was, it was run by Troy Ladd of Hollywood Hot Rods. It wasn't Hollywood Hot Rods.
Mm-hmm.
So, gotcha.
It was important to make the distinction that, because Royal stands for Ride of Your Life. So there was Ride of Your Life Garage. And I felt like it was important that we could cross, like everyone knows that I was part of both. And even the logos were similar. We used crowns in both, because the crown is the Hollywood Hot Rods logo. Right. So that it was associated. But I thought it was important that my team at Hollywood Hot Rods were separate than the Royal Garage team, because the builds are different. The builds are different. So that was kind of all done on purpose strategically to make, for marketing and to just keep Hollywood Hot Rods, separate but associated, if that makes sense.
I understand. And, it'd be unfair to have your guys, do double duty because, like you said, they have a full plate of their own at your shop. Then you have them do double duty over at Royal. Yeah. There's only so many hours in the day, and there are time constraints that have to be adhered to. So
I need to jump in real quick. I don't want to interrupt.
Sure.
But the guy's bringing me an air conditioner through in the window, so I'm going to jump off. I might be back, and I might not.
You'll be cool if you are back, so that's good.
Yeah. So
Troy, we picked a heck of a night for you to come on. I think
you see, I lost 2 pounds sitting there.
I got a plumber coming over later too, so I may have to jump off too. You never know. Have the pipes fixed.
Hey, Troy, I appreciate you coming on. And I'm sure we'll get you back. Get you back on scheduled when Lou can get on and everything. So if I don't make it back, I appreciate you coming on. And if I don't see you before, then I'll see you at SEMA.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, cool,
This is pretty important.
Well, Troy, why don't we do this, though? Why don't we make something definite, okay? Right now I'm scheduling for the month of October. Why don't we figure out what day in October works for you? It'll be right before SEMA. You could tell everybody, what your plans are, where you're going to be, what you're going to bring, all that stuff. This way you can tell Chip the particulars. And we'll just have you on again in October then.
Sure, we can do that.
Beautiful.
I can't plan my life that far ahead, but but I'm sure we can do something.
We'll keep in touch. You let me know what you're doing, and I'll rearrange the schedule to make it work for you. Because I know you're busy. I know you have a full plate, and don't worry, I'll handle it. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it. That sounds great.
That's awesome. Very cool. So, what projects do you have going on in the shop right now?
Well, I'm looking on the screens right now. We have,
Is there a 56 Plymouth wagon that you're doing?
yeah.
Tell me about that, because that's kind of cool. That's off the chart, man.
That
Interesting.
is.
Oh, did somebody texted that, right?
That was Jim
Did they?
Stella. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
I'm not looking at it over there. Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. We did. Gosh, there's a lot of major changes, but we always build it. We believe we try to build things subtle and classy. Like we always try to do our designs to something that's not so extreme that it looks out of place. So on the wagon, we've pancaked the roof. The roof looks kind of like a loaf of bread, so we took some of that out of it. We actually chopped it, I think, like 1.25 inches. So it took 1 inch out of the pancake the roof, 1 inch out of the chop. Then changing some fender lines, adding some body lines, trying to just, again, respect the DNA of the car, but make it look better.
Mm.
And I think the biggest change is the windows. I mean, I'll have to send you a photo or something.
I'd love to see it.
That'll be the website. But we kind of hard topped it, where we took getting rid of the door frames around the door. It's a 2-door wagon. So
Right.
getting rid of the door frames and then adding a pillar, 18 or so inches back, like kind of an S-shaped pillar. So I guess you would call that an AB, like a C pillar, like, for lack of a better word.
Right.
So that there'll be glass on glass that butts up, and you'll have this roll down window behind, and then there'll be a stationary glass on the window, like the wagon where they used to have a slider will be stationary. So that probably doesn't make sense without a picture.
Well, no, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a combination between like a Nomad and a 210.
Exactly.
With the glass, because the 150s were the cheap ones.
Mm-hmm.
The glass didn't go up and down. They were stationary. They were in there. They didn't move.
Yeah, so the rear glass will be stationary, but we're adding, again, removing the door frame, so it's kind of like
Right.
a hard top door.
Right.
And then there'll be a separator for a roll down glass behind it. So there's glass in the door, a roll down piece of glass with a pillar, and then a stationary piece of glass.
Right.
So,
See, no post on the door like on the Nomad. The 210 glass rolled up and down. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm a
cool.
Chevy guy. I'm sorry, don't hold it against me, but I'm a Chevy guy. But
nice.
I
Well-
appreciate, everything. You know what? Now that I'm getting older, it's not just like, Chevy, rah-rah. Then, you have the Ford guys, you have the Chrysler guys. I've learned to appreciate all of them, because you and I are about the same age. So you remember the cars that you grew up around, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think I love the cars that I do, because I remember them as daily transportation, roaming the streets of Ozone Park. I mean, when's the last time you saw a Rebel Machine, except at a car show?
Right.
I saw one on Liberty Avenue in the 70s when I was a kid. Cool car, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, looks like somebody's. I'm sorry, I'm reading the things. Somebody.
That's
looked
okay.
on the website. But yeah, I've always actually been the same way. I've never been a Ford guy or Chevy guy. I mean, people think that I'm a Ford guy because we build so many Fords and 32s and things, and people are shocked to realize that my third car was a 34 Chevy,
Nice.
and I actually have one at my house. I just bought another 34, so
I like those.
There's so much to like about so many different cars. I think it's pretty. I mean, I don't want to use the word ignorant. That's kind of harsh, but if you get so caught up in one type of car, missing out on so much.
You know what I'd love to get one day? I have so many cars. I'd have to sell a few of them to get this, though. I always had a thing for the 32 Vicky. Something about that car.
Yeah, nice
I
body
don't
style.
know. Yeah. It's just
See, I was just
gorgeous.
talking about a 35 Dodge Coupe tonight to a guy at the at a tire shop I was at. I passed on one of those a few years ago, and I said, I wished I would have bought that car. So yeah, there's just ones that just stick in your head, for whatever reasons.
And the Dodgers had their own little changes too.
Yeah.
The Plymouth, they had a different shaped rear window than the Dodgers did. So that was able to differentiate between a Dodge and a Plymouth of a similar year. So
Right.
yeah, little things like that. Those little things. My friend Greg, he taught me about that. He had a. Please forgive me. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong. I think he had a Plymouth back in the day, and I'm pretty sure it had a rounded rear window or an oval. I'll find out. I hope I'm right. I hope I don't embarrass him here on live.
Yeah.
So I hate to have to do that, but so let me ask you a question: if you were a guest on The Ride That Got Away, what car would you build for yourself?
Wow. I think, just based on the premise of the show, it would probably have to be my first car, a 66 Mustang, because that is the car that got away. And I think the car that my brother crashed. So,
wow.
Not that I would even really desire a Mustang that much at this point, but I just think that would be the right move for the premise. Or my 36.
But think about that Mustang in the way that you would build it for somebody else. There's the kick. Now it's not just a regular Mustang anymore because it's above and beyond. And you'd say, hey, that looks like my old car. But wow, my car didn't have this. My car didn't have a Coyote motor in it. Man, my car didn't have an IRS in the rear. Hey, this is cool.
Yeah. So, check this out. We have Greg from LSX Concepts. He just made a comment. 65 Chevelle wagon. That's right in my wheelhouse. Make it a 2-door, and we won't have a problem. So he's very good. Greg makes the.
Asked, was it a coupe or fastback? My car was a 66 coupe, actually.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. My 36 got away too. My 36 might be a cooler car to have come back. Really, I don't know.
So how would you build it? What kind of powertrain would you put in there? What would you put under the hood? What transmission? Take us, through the thought process.
See, that's a problem. I have mixed emotions on that because am I recreating what I had or doing a newer version of it?
You're making it.
But again, don't second guess it. Think of the premise of the show. What you would do for the car for somebody else. That's what you have to do for yourself, or what the crew would do.
I think
it's like the space-time continuum here. You're kind of like, what I'm saying? Like, you're on the outside, but you're on the inside. And you're the guy getting the car, but you're the guy building the car.
But here's the problem. So my 36 was designed for that time period. Like, that was a long time ago. And I don't think I would want that style of car now.
But that isn't what you would build now. Because just like you said, going by what you said earlier, you're taking the car, giving it a look or something that'll remind them of the car, but it's totally different. So that would apply to your car too.
I think I would want a 36 5-window with a Hemi with the 392.
Ooh.
That's what I would do.
I like that.
So if it's my Hemi? Car that got away, but a new version of it, I'd put a 392 Hemi in it.
The new 392 or the old 392?
The 392, the early.
The original one. Okay. We can go with the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. For me, not such a big fan. Maybe on new engine swaps.
Yeah.
There's just too much cool in old engines. I have a 392 and I had a Cadillac engine that we put in a car, and I got a 32 coupe with a 371 olds in it. There's so much cool in old.
See,
what's got a nail head in it? You got to have something with a nail head, I'm sure. Right?
I don't.
No. Oh wow.
But nail heads are awesome as well. That's a good looking engine.
Yeah.
So and flatheads are beautiful they look good. Oh, sorry, and they sound good. But I've actually never owned a flathead car just because I've always, I think maybe coming from my street racing days, I've always picked a vintage engine with horsepower. I have a thing for horsepower. So
exactly. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I love flatheads. I've never owned a flathead powered car.
Now they do build. I've read about some flathead builds that are breaking the mold as far as flatheads go, but it still doesn't compare to, modern stuff. It's, you know, but then again, you know, when you get in, when a car is built completely in a genre, you drive it that way. So, you know, if it's a Hellcat, you're going to drive it like it's a Hellcat. But if it's a flathead, you're going to drive it like it's a flathead. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people. It's almost like you know, a flathead powered roadster or something. It's got its own feel. It's got its own soul. You didn't build it to just go fast. You built it for that feeling. It's like it's like driving a vintage motorcycle. You're not driving because it's comfortable.
Exactly.
Right.
Fast. You're driving it for that feeling.
Exactly. And like, you know, all right, it's not fast. It's not like the modern bikes I have. So you're gonna be more mindful of your stopping distances because you got drum brakes instead of, you know,
Yeah.
Bias-ply tires. We put bias-ply tires on most things.
Yeah.
You know, and I did a test drive with a guy from it wasn't Motor Trend. It was somebody that does, it was Wall Street Journal. It was a non-hot rod type car publication that they test drive new cars and they do write-ups. And we went for a test drive in a 32 Roadster with a blown flathead in it, drum brakes, bias-ply tires. First thing he did was skid it through a stop sign. He's like, oh wow, this car doesn't stop like a new car. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a 32 Roadster.
Who told you it was going to?
Yeah. Exactly.
After we drove it, he had a hard time understanding it because he said, so how much does this car cost? I think it cost like $200,000 or something. Yeah. And he's like, so for that kind of money, I don't get air conditioning. I don't get power brakes. I don't get power steering. I said, you know what? You don't even get windows. Right. There's no windows in a Roadster. You know? And it took him a little bit to understand the concept. And then when he wrote the article, I was really concerned. I thought he was going to write some scathing article on like how people are paying big money for cars with no features. And he ended up kind of comparing it to a vintage motorcycle. And he started to understand the idea of the feel as like you relate to the car. Part of what the car doesn't have is part of the enjoyment of driving it.
Right.
It's pretty raw. It's supposed to be raw. You're supposed to feel like you're on the road. You're supposed to drive it. Yeah. You know,
if you didn't say that he used a vintage motorcycle thread, I would have totally not believed that he got it at all. I mean, one of the cars I drive it's not even, it's a 79, it's a Fiat Spider. And I've had people say to me, oh, I smell gas. I said, listen, if I don't smell gas, oil, or antifreeze at any given time, I know I'm out of them. So that's my indicator light. You know, it's like, it's a visceral thing. It's like you're in touch with that car by the sights, the smells, you know, and just like an older hot rod, you kind of, so to me, it's a lifestyle. I mean, if you grew up or if you're in that hobby and, you know, if you've built them and lived with them, you get it. You know, you better get it or else you better go get something else. So I'm very leery of people. I'm leery of people stepping in, but I'm glad you said he made that connection because that's a perfect example. You know, also being from the motorcycle world, I get that one.
Putting miles on a car like that it's a different experience. You know, I mean,
I had a friend years ago. Him and his wife both have original Model A's. And I've been in the car with him a number of times. And one, we're going to go out to Captree to a cruise in the morning, a Sunday morning. And he came to the house and I come out and he's standing outside the car. I was like, hey, what are you doing? He goes, no, you're going to drive today. I want you to drive the car. I'm like, wow, I never drove a bone stock Model A. I'm like, okay, let's do it. He goes, okay, but I got to give you a primer. He goes, I got to teach you what to do. And of course, right from the Spark Advance to the whole bit. And I took off and we went through double clutching and, I got everything he said. And we're coming up to maybe a couple hundred feet away from a stop. And he says, you see the stop sign? He goes, well, get ready to stop. He goes, I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, mechanical brakes. And he would meticulously adjust them. And it was really weird at first getting that dance together. But then, after about 10, 15 minutes, I was pretty comfortable. And I felt like I went back in time. I was like, wow, I don't want to go fast. Not that I couldn't anyway, 45 miles an hour. But, I didn't want to. It was like I just wanted to experience what that car had to show me. And it was just so cool to have that. But then I got in that Fiat because I had to rush and do the radio show. It was on a Sunday morning. And I felt like I was in a Ferrari. I really did. And the Fiat is not a fast car, but it felt like a Ferrari compared to that Model A. And it was
Sure.
just so cool to do the A/B comparison like that. Good stuff.
What we enjoy is every one of the cars that we build has a different feel. And like each one has its own personality. Each one has its own, its own feel. And we did a little 32 pickup truck with a camera, a Boss 429 that was bored out to like 520.
Nice.
And,
Sweet.
Nice.
and so you're talking about 600 foot-pounds of torque at 1,500 RPM.
Yeah,
Literally
I love that.
Straight and across.
I
and
love that.
horsepower was in excess of 600 in a car that weighs less than 2,000 pounds.
That's ridiculous.
That's its own experience.
That's awesome.
And that had
I'd
a
love to drive
manual
that.
in it. And
Oh,
I
wow.
actually drove that a little bit on the show, like on the Ride That Got Away show. That was the truck that I drove.
Okay.
And then I would hop from that into the 32 Roadster, the black 32 with the blown flathead. Totally different experience. Like each one of those experiences is fun. And I love the fact that every one of these cars has its own feel and its own
Personality.
Works.
That's why I get ticked off at people who will, maybe they're into newer cars and they'll badmouth the older cars or vice versa. It's like, well, no, they're not supposed to be the same. They can't be the same, and they're not going to be the same. It's like I said, it's a different entity, different personality. Take it for what it is. If not, maybe you're in the wrong hobby. Maybe you should be doing something else.
Right. They don't understand then. If they can differentiate between the two, there's goals and expectations. If you can't separate that or understand it, you don't belong in the hobby. Or find a new one.
And, I listen to everybody's opinion. I have no problem with anybody's opinion. We're all entitled to our own. But when and I've had this happen where guys are like adamant about it, but it doesn't do that. It doesn't. Like, listen, dude, that's not the argument. I'm not even going to entertain that because that's not what we're talking about. It's not realistic to do that. So,
you see, cars are built for a certain purpose, and when you want to use them beyond the realm of that, that's where you get disappointed, and that's where your expectations are unmet. But it's not realistic in the first place, though, because it wasn't built to do that. And there you have it.
You're right. Absolutely. Agreed.
But yeah, Troy, I'm sorry about all the technical issues we've been having this evening, but I know you have to get back to the shop and get back to work. So you want to stick around for a few more minutes? You're welcome to. If you need to get back to work,
I'm actually still good. Like, I'm not looking past you. I've actually put you on my television screen so I can see you better.
Oh, awesome.
So, and I keep actually turning up the volume, but unfortunately you're delayed a little bit from my phone to anyway. I'm working it out. So
right.
I don't see anybody on my screen right now, but I can see you on there. So
that's weird. Yeah, look at that.
This is a dry run for part 2.
Tori, I was telling Troy that some people have a better connection on a phone, and some, like, I always use a PC. And I know that there's a lot of spottiness. There's a lot of it may even depend on where you are, with connection or whatever. I don't know.
Very true. But Troy, I have a question about the flathead.
Yep.
What kind of internals did you use to make it stronger for the supercharger?
That's good.
The owner actually supplied the engine, and it was built by H&H. So I don't know actually what's in it. I know it's a big bore. They did bigger pistons, did a bigger bore. There's a decent cam in it. I don't believe that probably the supercharger has a lot of boost. I think they probably keep it pretty mild. It's peppy. It's a fun car to drive. But I don't really have a lot of insight.
Yeah, I would imagine it's on the mild side. Yeah, just for the sealing properties, though. I mean, just to seal that engine would be next to impossible under pressure.
Oh, that's very true. I didn't even think of that.
So yeah. I've read a couple of flathead builds, and I'm thinking somebody used a more modern passenger car rod. They found a way to use like a Chevy small block rod or something like that.
There's all kinds of tricks. I mean, like, there's all kinds of guys out there that mix and match and do whatever. Plus, in modern world here, people make stuff for just about anything too. Like, it's pretty. It's not like it used to be as far as trying to figure out how to build stuff. Like, you can buy just about anything these days.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if we ask Callie's nicely if they'd build a crankshaft for a flathead.
Yeah, right. Well, just like we were talking to Greg last week, from LSX Concepts, You can make anything if you have a mind to. I mean, look at the stuff he's cranking out.
Well, you know what, Greg, similar to what, you, Troy, he built it out of necessity. He had a problem that he needed to solve with one of his own personal cars, and it was a great idea. And he started selling to other people because if he had that problem and he overcame that issue, other people, I'm sure he wasn't the only guy having that problem. And there you have it. So that a business was born. So
he had the means and the wherewithal and the drive and then the equipment to make it happen. So he made it all come together. Where other guys maybe have part of the solution, but not all of it. So he was fortunate. That's good.
Yeah. Well, plus he's very talented. He knew exactly what he needed to do. Right. He had a great partner. To help him design and everything. And no, I mean the product. I mean it's actually I have a box that came to Lou's house. Didn't have a chance to open it yet, but I'm gonna open it tomorrow though. I can't wait. I'm like a kid at Christmas tomorrow morning. It's gonna be amazing.
That's gonna be cool. Yeah, it'll be nice.
He said there's an extra little special surprise in the bottom in a white box.
Oh,
I'm on 2 hours sleep. I may have to crack this open tonight.
That's not going to help you sleep anymore, Tori.
Now I get all wound up. I won't sleep again. So I'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll be good. I promise.
All right, so maybe we should wrap. You can get some shut eye.
Yeah, it was a long trip, and if I'm starting to mumble or run out my sentences, I apologize.
So we never got Lou.
No.
Every now and again, he has trouble, getting, signing in with his computer. And what's funny, Troy? It's a Windows 10 machine. It's up to date, and sometimes for whatever reason, it doesn't like him. They don't play well together, and he just can't get on. I don't understand it.
Well, I'm not going to let Lou get away with it. I have a long history with Lou. I've known Lou for quite some time. We did a TV show together many years ago. We actually did some drinking together, and so he didn't show up. I'm not going to let him get away with it.
I wouldn't. Troy, I'm going to hold you to that, okay?
All right.
Very good.
This makes me can't wait to see part 2 now. So
yes, absolutely.
Troy, all kidding aside, let me know what your schedule's like in October. And I know you can't plan, that far in advance. You let me know when you see a date that's good for you. I'll put it in there, and we'll get this going. Okay?
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty easy. I'm still at work, just sitting at my desk, and I can talk for an hour almost any time. So we'll just schedule it and make it happen.
I can't wait.
Excellent.
I can't wait. You were an awesome guest tonight. I can't thank you enough for stopping by, spending part of your evening or part of our evening, with us, because I'm extremely happy. Thank you so much.
Real pleasure.
Thanks for having me, and it was a good time. And it looks like part 2 featuring Troy and Lou drinking stories. Well, Jim, we can tell Jim that maybe Troy and Lou will drink as we're doing the show.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Well, Ray, you know what that means? And we hate to see him drink alone. We're going to have to, get our brand and join him.
All right, we can do that.
Looks like Jim's happy with that. All right.
And the people in the chat room, they could drink too. And, we could, you know what? I call that the Seagram 7 scenario. Everyone just gets drunk and we have a, wild night online.
Jim is talking about FCC rules. So, hey, Jim, this is for Jim.
Nice. What are you pouring there, Troy? What's the libation of choice tonight?
Whistle Pig whiskey.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that.
Nice.
So, well, it looks like Jim's a fan. Thanks, Jim.
Nice. Very good.
I have to bring up the Glenlivet. Sorry I'm a little boring, but it's what I like. So,
I'll make a picture of snake bites for myself. That's nice. That's my choice.
All right. Well, then for part 2, then it's going to be a drinking show that everyone has to have a drink. How about that?
Fair enough.
We'll have to open with it. We'll have to have one in the middle at the top of the hour, and we'll have to one at the end too.
Excellent.
You got it. I'm in.
Nice.
Very good.
Troy, thank you for coming by. Please, before you sign out, tell everyone who you are and what you do, and we'll all sign off, okay?
All right. So, again, it was great to be with you guys. Troy Ladd, owner of Hollywood Hot Rods, Burbank, California. And you can go to our website, HollywoodHotRods.com, and we got cool cars and merchandise. and we just do what we love, just like you guys.
And for all you guys in there, I put the website in there. So just scroll back into the comments, and I'll take you to the link for Troy's website.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Troy, have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Troy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Ray, it was a pleasure doing this, and it was nice to see you and talk with you, for God's sakes, for once.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's awesome.
It's 2 weeks in a row. We're on a roll.
We sure are. We'll set a new precedent. So,
Right.
Good night, everybody. It was great seeing you.
All right, guys. Troy,
Take
pleasure.
care. All right. Good night, everybody.
So long.
Bye.